Okay, let me get this set. Share that. Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Roger Griffin, for those of you who do not know me. Many of the UCORE students we've met already. If we have not, it is nice to meet you. I am the undergraduate advising manager, and I also advise to the UCORE program. Tonight's session is more of just an informal gathering for us to have the opportunity to try and answer any remaining questions that you might have before the fall semester starts, to try to make sure that you feel good about your first semester with us, right? And so what we're going to do is Sage and myself are going to go through a few slides that we have for some key things that you need to be aware of, right? Some of the academic calendars, some important dates, some things that are important for you in terms of the advisor-student relationship. And then after that, we're going to make sure that we keep the majority of the time for the program to speak on specifics. There'll be a fair amount of time for you to conduct a question and answer, right? We're going to have a question and answer session. So any and all questions that you have, this is a really good time to ask those. We have some guests here that we're going to introduce in just a moment. So I think what we'll do is let's go around and do introductions. That way I don't miss anyone. It just makes it easier for me. So first I'll go over to Sage. Sage, will you introduce yourself?
Hi, everybody. My name is Sage Rest. I am the graduate advising manager, and I primarily advise for the graduate core program. So if you are in the undergrad program and if you're interested in getting a master's degree, I would advise for that program, and I work alongside Roger. It's nice to see you all. I'm super excited for you to get started in either the undergrad or the grad program.
Thank you. Then we'll go to Mr. Ed Vasco.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Ed Vasco. I'm the director for the Institute for Pervasive Cybersecurity here at Boise State. We'll talk a little bit later about career tracks, different things we happen to have going on at Boise State that might be of interest to you all, and certainly provide some industry perspective. Look forward to the conversation.
Thank you. Let's go to Michelle.
Hi, I'm Michelle Stuffins, and I am the program manager. So I handle the day-to-day operations of the program, and you probably have received a ton of emails from me. Buckle up, you'll get a lot more.
And last but not least, Dr. Sin-Ming Lu.
Well, that's all right. Sin-Ming Lu, I'm a former title is Professor of Electrical and Computer Engineering, but I'm the Grand Poobah for the cyber operation and resilient program. Means that I started a lot of the program, the curriculum, and gotten a lot of input from industry, and to get a curriculum to this point. And right now we're just busy building it, and all the classes for fall semester for the first 7-week session are ready to go.
Okay, thank you everyone for the introductions. And I know that for many of you, you've already interacted with the majority of us, but we just want to make sure that you all know who we are. And so collectively, we make up your support team, right? So we're here to make sure that, one, you have a really good experience at Boise State, and then two, that we do everything within our power, and even if it's outside of our power, to find a way to bridge so that you can achieve what you're looking to get out of the program and in your career, right? And so we're going to cover a few things now with the PowerPoint just on essentially academic advising and how you set yourself up for success. The one thing I will say that is, if you are unsure where to go, you don't know who to ask a question to, just send it to academic advising. We will route you to the right person, or we'll make sure that we do a warm transfer, right? So we don't ever want you to be floating out there where you're not sure where to go with the question and you spend like an hour looking up for something. Just email or call us and we'll figure it out together, okay? So a few tips for starting off your program on a good foot, right? So classes start Monday, August 23rd. The classes are going to open, they usually open 3 to 4 days before, right? So that Friday, the Saturday, Make sure that you log in. You go in through My Boise, you go into Canvas, and your classes should populate on the dashboard. Now, if you get stuck, you're not sure where to go, even if it's the weekend, you can send myself, Sage, or one of the other advisors an email, and then our out of office will populate with basically how to problem solve. So we've designed a template that will tell you, okay, if this happens, do this. If this happens, call this person, right? And so if you get stuck, you can shoot us an email. Our auto office will send that back to you, so then you have an idea of what to do. It also will have numbers for like OIT, which is the online tech support. Okay. And then two, it's important that you go in early, play with your classes, get a feel for them. Each class is a little bit different, right? Each structure is a little bit different. So you want to get acclimated to that online learning environment. All right. And then once we come back on Monday and you're starting your classes, if you have any questions or concerns, you can always reach out to the academic advisors. Okay. One of the other things that is advisable is Canvas and My Boise have apps. So if you have a smartphone, I think probably the majority of you do, it's good to download. You get all kinds of notifications on there. You can check your grades. You can see your assignments. I was even telling Sage earlier in the session that when your professor starts grading, making comments on your paper or assignment or project you've submitted, you can see that and you'll get notified of it. So that's always nice to have, right? And it just helps you stay on top of everything. The other thing is if you run into a challenge, you want to communicate early with your professors, let them know what's going on. Your professors are here to help you. They want to support you, right? Many of them are industry professionals. So, they want to train you up so you can go in and get jobs. It'll fill a lot of the voids that they have, right? So they want you to be successful. And then all of us have a stake in your success, right? We want you to do well. So if you ever need anything, just reach out to us and we're all happy to support as best we can. The other thing is you want to pay attention to drop dates. Sorry, drop dates. Before you drop, you really want to check with academic advising, right? So if you run into a challenge, reach out to us so we can talk through it and we can look at it together and make sure that you dropping a class, we cover all the basics of how that's going to impact your degree plan, okay? And then the last day to drop for a refund is August 26th, right? Full refund. After that, the academic calendar will guide you to what's going to happen, right? But, there's a certain point too where you can get your W. And then after that, you have to go through different forms to drop the class and your advisors can support you through it, okay?
Thanks, Roger. So like Roger said, deadlines and due dates are really important to keep in track of, not just for your homework, but also where we are in the university. If for any reason something comes up, you need to drop your course, your academic advisor should be your first point of contact to make sure that where we are in the deadlines of things won't impact you as negatively as it could if we waited a few days. So with that in mind, coming up is an important deadline for folks who are paying out of pocket. So if you're using financial aid, this is a little bit different, but if you're paying out of pocket, the day that you need to submit payment is August 21st, which is this Saturday. So if you do not submit a payment by this Saturday, you will get a $50 late fee. However, you will still be enrolled in your courses. So you can continue on with your courses, but you will get that $50 charge. You can also enroll in a fee payment plan, but you will need to enroll in this plan on or before this Saturday, August 21st. And if you were to enroll in the fee payment plan, it will break your payments into 3 equal payments for the entire semester. And then those will be due on August 25th, September 25th, and October 25th for the semester. I will link instructions on how to opt into the payment plan. It's important that you do so if you're interested. They do charge you $30 to opt in, but they just break that into $10 each of those 3 months. Roger, you're muted. I'm sure it was amazing though.
Thank you for that. It's the evening, right? So what I was saying is that advisors and students we're a team, right? And what we want to do is we're here to support you. We're here to lend our expertise, but we need you to help us, right? We have to have you help us help you. And so as part of that is advisors are going to be responsible for helping you interpret university policies and regulations. That's why I mentioned earlier, before you drop a class, connect with your academic advisor so we can help you understand that process. The other thing is we're here to offer advice. We try to practice a form of advising where we're not really trying to persuade you either way, right? We want you to make the decisions. You're the driver. And we want to give you as sound advice as possible and as much information to make a good decision as we have, right? The other thing that you want to consider is any changes you're going to make to your schedule, please work with the academic advisors. We're not trying to parent you, right? We want to make sure we have you with an updated plan so that any changes you're aware of, right? Because if we change the class and the advisor's not aware of it, the schedule might change and then that could throw off your graduation date, okay? The other thing is we're really here to be a support for you. So if you run into a challenge, if you just need to speak with someone, right, you're not sure what to do, you can reach out to the advisors and we're happy to have those conversations with you, okay?
Thanks, Roger. So as advisors, we have responsibilities to you as the student, but then you also have your responsibilities as a student. And first and foremost is taking initiative to contact us each semester, especially if you want to make changes to your plan. We open advising every semester before class registration. For an example, you all are going to start this fall, and about 2 or 3 weeks into your semester, we're going to want to talk about spring. As advisors, we're always living a semester or a year ahead, and that's our job to make sure that we plan for you. So make sure to take that initiative to contact us so that we can make a plan that fits your needs, whatever those needs may be. The next thing is keep us informed. If there are changes to your academic plan, if you've dropped a class, if you possibly didn't pass a class and we need to talk about when we'll retake that class. Also, if there's any health issues, financial issues, or academics and other difficulties preventing you from completing your coursework, and you need additional support through the university, please reach out to us. We are the people that can connect you to different resources, connect you to the program. We want you to succeed, and so we are all here for you to make sure that that happens. But we can't help you if you don't let us know that you need help. So please let us know. Taking an active role in your educational experience is your responsibility. So this is your education. This is your experience. What you make out of it is going to be what you get out of it. So, reach out and take action to create a study group in your class. Reach out to your professor. What I kind of like to say is in an online program, it's harder to, take that initiative to interact with people. Like if you were sitting in a class, you would just raise your hand if you had a question for the professor, right? But in an online program, you have to take that initiative and email your professor. We love questions, so please send us all the questions. Don't be intimidated by your professor or your advisor. We are here to help you, make sure that you get that. But like I said, we can't help you unless we know that you need assistance. So please let us know. Communication is key. Communicate with your instructors early and often. Checking your Bronco mail is going to be extremely important for that communication piece. Starting now, once school begins, we are going to be contacting your Bronco mail as much as possible. I know if you're like me, you may have 4 other emails. So if you're not going to be checking your Bronco mail, please set up email forwarding. You would do that just as normal as through Gmail forwarding. You can do that. What I would recommend though is to check to make sure that that email forwarding is continuing. Sometimes at the university, if we do a large university update, that can break. So make sure that if you stop getting emails for some reason, go back in, check, make sure that email forwarding is working. And then the last thing is sharing your successes and asking questions. We want to hear if you are able to apply some learning at your current place of work, or you were able to get a promotion because of what you learned in a class. Ask your questions, share your successes. We want to hear from you.
Thank you. I did drop in there while Sage was mentioning some of those good supports, right? I did drop in there the Educational Access Center. And that is important to note because, if you find there's, especially we're coming out of, well, hopefully we're coming out of the pandemic, right? But there's still situations that we may encounter, right? That if we run into challenges, that could be a learning challenge. It could be a situation like maybe someone had an automobile accident and they're hurt. Though if you need support, if you find that you run into a situation where you do need additional supports, you can reach out to advising. We'll make sure we connect you to the appropriate resources, but the Educational Access Center is one to be aware of, okay? And we're going to turn it over to the program now.
All right, so everyone, this is a quick overview on the undergraduate, the core curriculum. If you see whether you're coming in as AS or AAS or even 4-year student at BSU, you see the elective and technical credit hour of where your credit hour can go towards. But on the bottom left, the orange boxes are the required core classes. It ranges from cyber system thinking classes, teaching you how to think in system and how to see the connection, to the project management class, where it goes hand in hand with a capstone class on the bottom, where you are going to work on the industry sponsor project, and also the risk management class, because there is limited amount of money. You are going to know what is it that you're trying to protect and how do you manage the risk, and also spend those limited dollar that you have. And then the next class is information assurance, is where you are going to using an organization that you have selected, you're going to design a cybersecurity program for it. And then it's a very hands-on class, but it's more on the design level. And then the offensive, defensive, and recovery and forensic, those are very technical classes where you will be setting up virtual machines to play with some of the skill sets that you're going to be learning and practicing. And then instead of teaching you traditional networking and OSI stack model, we're not doing that. So we are going to prepare you to do the CompTIA Network Plus and Security Plus certification. And there is a shortcut to those two, the Network Plus and Security Plus, if you are willing to go study for it. And we do have a process to get you the credit hour that you need, okay? And then is choose a path, whether you want to be staying on more technical. You could be going for those classes, including applied cybersecurity, programming, artificial intelligence and machine learning, and IoT architecture, and red and blue team. So, and then if it is more, you're not as interested in really hands-on and really technical, you could be looking at risk assessment, or cyber business and regulatory, and red and blue team can potentially be non-technical too. And then you choose between cyber threat intelligence and resilient system design, using information to protect the organization or the network that you have, or how to use the basic principle to design a resilient system. So next. So the undergraduate program that you just saw, there is an accelerated pathway where you can complete 6 credit hours as part of the undergraduate degree to apply towards the MS degree. Okay, so this MS degree is 30 credit hour, 2, 18, and 10. 10 credit hour essential if you're pivoting your career from a non-cyber to cyber. That is where the 10 credit hour, you can be using it to pick up some of the background that you need. And then the 18 credit hour, you pick 2 tracks, but it's going to need a little modification and paperwork from my end to be able to pick 18 out of 27 credit hour, or you can stay on 2 tracks that we have out of the 3 tracks. And then the culminating activity is 2 credit hour. You pick from 3 different activity, whether you can pick from teaching a class, obtain the certification, or complete a project. So next. So the advice, the program has to give you some advice, you know. being a prof, you just got to talk about it all the time. Sorry. So the biggest thing that you need to be ready is be ready to learn, because I have been very hands-on in designing a lot of those classes, but it is ultimately designed by cybersecurity professional in a lot of detail and a lot of works in there. So you're gonna be working pretty hard, and I hope you're gonna work smart too. So be ready to learn, be teachable, be professional, be flexible, and have a good attitude, and work hard and work smart. You're gonna need it because it's gonna be a lot of work. So, and this program has been built the last 12 months or so during the pandemic, and I expect that it's going to be rough spots and things that we haven't been able to smooth it out. If something isn't working, let the instructor know or let me know. We'll see what we can do, but we will make sure you are being taken care of. Okay, these are 7-week session courses. There's no time to waste. If you've been spinning on your wheel on particular thing for hours and hours and at a time, something is not right. So you better ask the question to the instructor or the TA to get you over the hump, because there's not enough time to wait. 7-week session, time flies really quickly. Okay, so again, this particular degree program, whether it's at the MS level or the BS level, they are pathway for you to be completely technical, but it is not engineering or computer science degree that you have to do programming. Is because a lot of the real work in cybersecurity is finding the optimum point by deploying people, process, and technology to keep things safe. Okay, there's no silver bullet. Doing the basic is really hard work, but that is how we're going to keep everything that you're trying to keep secure. How do you keep them secure and be secure? Next. And so these are some of the potential training. It's outside of classes. You got to look at how do you learn even more skill sets, whether you go for cyber training, could be online seminar by some of the major vendor or the nonprofit organization or the cybersecurity society, cyber competition, play capture the flag. You got to improve your skill, whatever the skill sets that you're trying to learn. The nicechallenge.com is a free site, but I'm going to have to, if you're interested in playing with it, I'm going to have to make some arrangement for you to get access to it. The immersive labs, there is a .online site or the .com site. It's really cool. It's free from not technical to non-technical. And then again, the NITS.gov website has a whole list of things. And then Ed is going to talk about things that we got going on at the university. We even got a big cluster that we called it MentiCore, that has been set up for the CPS 411 and 412 training as part of the Network Plus and Security Plus. But there are a lot more that we are working on. I will let Ed give you the rest of it.
Yeah, thanks, Dr. Liu. Again, I'm Ed Vasco. I'm with the Institute for Pervasive Cybersecurity, and one of our key goals at the Institute is to support core and yourselves in developing up the necessary skills to go along with the knowledge that you're gaining through the curriculum. And as mentioned, what we have are a number of specific ranges and platforms that are inside Boise State. So these aren't external organizations that you need to go to. These are available and freely open and available for you to come in and use. We have a specific blue team oriented toolkit that's very similar to the red team toolkit that's out and about, the pen testing tool set called Kali. There's a blue team toolkit called Security Onion. And the Security Onion is made up of a number of different open source related tools that give you very strong perspective and very strong knowledge and skill set development in the tools that you'll likely use in some of the entry level roles that you may be taking on as a security analyst or security engineer. And alongside that, for those of you who are looking at the threat intelligence and that particular aspect of cyber operations, then we also have an open source toolkit called MISP that is a threat intelligence aggregation tool and analysis tool that's available. Any one of these particular tools can be extended through any other sort of open source projects or partner programs that we have that are underway with commercial vendors. All of those are meant to, again, give you the ability to work within a simulational environment, to learn the tools, to learn how to use them, and to be able to build up your skill sets and capabilities in those particular areas. We also have deployed out in one of our platforms a virtual city. So that's made up of a service provider environment that's using Security Onion and MISP and other tool sets, but also is utilizing those tools to simulate how a multi-site environment would be secured through a security operations center and through that cyber operations capability. So we have client environments that are simulated. Those range from retailers to doctors' offices. We'll be building out hospitals and manufacturers and other environments that you'll be able to help defend. We also are bringing in, again, a number of different attacking tool sets so that students who may want to take a look at those kinds of tools are able to use those in a controlled and simulated way. The entire environment is really meant to give you the opportunity to grow your skills and grow your competencies on these tools that you'll be using in your career. We also, just so everybody in the core program is aware of it, we received funding to help build out not just a simulational environment, but actually a real world live fire environment that we call the Cyberdome. And that's in the process of being built out. We anticipate sometime in the September, October timeframe to need interns from an undergraduate or from a graduate program perspective to come in and help us and gain, again, real world knowledge, real world training, utilizing the tool sets I've mentioned before. And what we'll be doing with that is working with small organizations that have a need for cybersecurity monitoring and cyber operations being applied to them. And we'll be able to utilize paid internships to help drive the ability to monitor, detect, and respond to different kinds of cyber events in those organizations. Next slide. So I've been asked, on a number of different occasions to kind of give a career perspective. And just by way of background, those of you who haven't had a chance to talk to me, I've spent the past 30 years in the cybersecurity industry. And over that 30-year career, I've started, run 5 different cyber-related businesses. And so I have a very, very extensive professional network to be able to bring to bear to help you all as you're getting through the program and looking to start your new careers or extend your existing careers, but also a very strong industry perspective as it relates to what is cyber operations, what's it going to look like, and what does your career look like after departing this program. And in doing that, kind of trying to answer those particular questions, I figured I'd start with a story that I hope exemplifies why we're doing what we're doing when it comes to cyber operations. I'm going to rewind the clock many, many years ago, almost a few decades ago for that matter, and go back to some of the early stages of my career where I was asked to do a penetration test of what was then new electronic digitizing of X-ray environment. And the particular application vendor that was looking to have this tested asked us whether or not it was possible to break in and alter these particular records, these medical records. And so, as part of that effort, I went through the process of examining the system, and what you see here is an output of the system. And to give you some perspective, we took an approach of looking at this as to what would an adversary try to do to create fraud or to create significant impact to either an individual or to a wide number of people. And so when we were examining the system, we kind of put our adversarial hats on and really tried to think as an adversary. And in doing so, try to identify areas where we could help defend this particular platform. And so if we just go forward one particular notch in the slide deck, hopefully we'll get an animation here or not get an animation. Roger, I don't know if you want to go, there you go. So what I'm hoping to be able to do is elicit everybody on the call to kind of take a look at this particular next slide. Maybe go back, if you could, Roger, I don't know if you can go back very quickly to the prior slide and give everybody a perspective of there we go. So there's the before. And what I'm asking everybody to do is take a look at the next slide, just one click, and see if you can see what may have changed. So there's the before, and one more time, there's the after. And you should be able to see two very, very minute changes to this particular X-ray that we were able to bring about through this effort. And Roger, go forward one more click, and we'll show everybody where those changes are. And as you can see, we put two little markers. Those two markers on this particular X-ray are actually meant to show cancerous indicators. This is a bone cancer indication. And if you go forward one more, we'll give some perspective around this. And that is that we were able to go into this particular system, alter this digital file, thinking like an adversary for a second, for more than a second, for a few minutes, and be able to alter this particular system. This is early in my career, as I mentioned, and what became very clear to me very quickly was it's one thing to think like an adversary, and it's easy to go in and break systems. But really where our work and our effort as a community and as an industry come from is the ability to actually go back and look at this system and try to figure out how to protect it. The reason being, as you might gather, if an adversary were to make this kind of change wholesale, the level of potential Medicare fraud, as well as the level of potential impact on a personal basis to people who utilize the system could be massive. Not the medical bills themselves, but also the potential for malpractice and just the sheer impact to individuals. Well, it's really easy to attack. It's much, much harder to defend, and much harder to actually look at systems like this that are clearly broken and clearly have issues and find ways to defend them. And that's really where the cyber operations and resilience program comes from, is the idea of making a community, providing service, and finding ways to help defend the critical data and critical infrastructure of future employers, and of our country as a whole. So if you think about where your career is going through this program, keep this kind of end state in mind, is that you're looking to defend these kinds of environments so that people don't have direct personal impact, fraud is lessened, and the opportunity for financial gain by cyber criminals is completely and hopefully eradicated. So next slide. So the other question that I'm often asked is, why should I pursue a career in cyber? And some of the key elements that I always like to emphasize in terms of your pursuit of a career is you have a want to serve. You have a want to actually do good and serve your community and serve the world in a particular case, but at least serve your community. And in doing so, bring about a perspective of constant willing to learn. I wake up every single morning after 30 years of doing this and still each day learn something new that I can then apply to help organizations, even help Boise State, help you as students, make certain that cyber is first and foremost in your thought process, and helping the country find ways to defend itself better. I say the other thing is, if you truly enjoy breaking things, and as I mentioned before, it's easy to break. It's much harder to defend something, but knowing how things can be broken, how a system, how an environment can be broken allows you to be a better defender. And so the want and the enjoyment of saying, I know how to break this and I know how to fix it is an important aspect of why you should pursue a career. And then I always like to say, with a bit of a caveat, as you see down below, there's no guarantee of what I'm going to say, but after 30 years of being in this industry, I've never had a day of unemployment. I have always been employed, always advancing my career, and I can't quite say it's future recession proof, but over my 30 years, it has certainly been recession proof in terms of the capabilities and the industry needing more and more people. And that trend has continued. You can go to a number of different sites and see that the need for cybersecurity skills is great, over anywhere from 400,000 to 700,000 different openings across the nation alone, with significant opportunities both here in Idaho and in the region. So next slide. I'm going to try to accelerate here so that we get time for your questions and answers. But what can you do with a degree in cyber? Well, cyber operations is really preparing you for a degree for a career track that's cyber analyst or cyber engineering oriented. However, even as you start or restart or move into a different phase of your career, keep in mind that your cyber background, and especially the systems thinking, the other aspects that are being taught through the core program, and the ability to take that knowledge and build your skill sets through the different structures and ranges and platforms we've shared with you, give you the ability to go and branch out into new and exciting areas. One example, speaking as a 5-time entrepreneur myself, entrepreneurship. The cybersecurity and cyber operations industry has a wide and vast need around entrepreneurship, and different methods and different approaches to doing things yield terrific opportunities for people who are entrepreneurially minded. You can take this cyber operations knowledge and skills that you're going to develop and pivot into a legal track, pivot into tangential areas that allow you to, again, continue to extend and grow your skills and knowledge in different areas, but cyber is always a great base. Risk management, for those of you who may not be so technically focused, risk management and aligning business and technical risk and even non-technical risk that may be cyber impactful, that comes into play as well. So there are a large number of different areas, not just traditional cyber analyst and cyber engineer, that I would emphasize to you are open to you with a career track of this nature. Next slide. And then finally, I'd say what makes a good cyber professional, and I'd say it's really 3 key things. Dr. Liu touched on a number of others, but I come down to 3 key things. One is being curious, being willing to wake up every day, being curious, and being a lifelong learner. Every single day, if you have those 2 things in mind, then you're going to do great. The other aspect is being willing, as I mentioned, kind of rather than breaking things, turn things upside down, shake things up, ask the why, ask the how things work the way they do, ask why they work the way they do. And that willingness to turn things upside down gives you a perspective, not just of what the adversary could do, but also what you can be doing to better defend the environment and defend the system that you're entrusted with. One other final element, I think if we click one more, Roger, I would leave everybody with a couple of key things here. One is a really great resource historically. Our industry has been around a long time. And so I want to make certain that on top of all the other reading that you're going to be doing and all the other work, that you have a chance, if you want to really dive into some of the history of the industry, that you get a chance to take a look at some work that's been done actually back in the 1990s by Clifford Stoll. He was one of the first people to really sit down and write about hacking and how he responded and how he was able to uncover and detect hackers that were attacking the particular system he was entrusted with. And it all came down to a discrepancy in the finance in some of the budgeting to the tune of about 50 cents. And that 50 cents, the 50-cent difference made him turn around and realize that his system was under attack. So the same kinds of perspectives and the same kinds of approaches that he took can be applied very, very effectively even now today. And then I'd leave you with 3 other key things: treating people with respect, passion for service, and wanting to help. At our core, our industry is about helping. We help defend the critical data and critical infrastructure of our nation. And then I would share with you one final story. I've had a chance through my career to be exposed to environments where if I had pressed the right combination of buttons, I could have moved any amount of money anywhere in the world. And it's only through an understanding of good, solid ethics, what it means to be a good person and to do the right things, that I'm here with you today rather than on the run from a legal perspective. And it's that solid ethical core that you need. And I know each and every one of you have. It's going to make you a terrific cyber professional. So thank you, everybody, for the chance to chat with you. If you have any questions, please reach out. I'm available. I've got a wide industry network and want to see you all be hugely successful in this program. So thank you. Looking forward to questions.
Anyone? The floor is open.
Yeah, so it looks like we have all of our undergraduate students here. So Manuel, Amanda, Adam, Marcos, Pierre, Josh, or Victor, if you have any questions about careers or specifics about the program, now is a good time to ask either Dr. Liu, Mr. Ed, or Michelle as well.
You could also feel free to put your questions in the chat if you don't have the ability to unmute. I know some people may be at work, so feel free to put them in the chat as well, and I can read them for you.
I do have a question. It's for Ed. So I'm curious to know, like, how did you start up your 5 businesses and what happened to them?
So, well, I started my businesses started starting them, I guess is the best way to say it, even before I had left college. By the time I had gotten my bachelor's degree, I'd started 2 different businesses. And through the very first business, I would say is the one that I probably learned the most in, and that's the one that absolute was an abject failure. And it was through that failure that I learned the most. But the others, we would start, I'd have business partners or not, and we'd start those and over time sell them or merge them into other companies. The last company I ran was one of the largest managed security service providers in the nation. We had about 2,500 customers around the world. And in 2018, private equity came in and offered me an interesting amount of money. And I gladly took it and promised my wife I would not do a 6th startup. So over the years, there's a certain level of, my friends like to tell me I have a certain level of crazy because I enjoy entrepreneurship. But ultimately, it comes down to individual choice in terms of whether or not you're willing to, engage in an idea, communicate that idea, and be passionate about the idea, and in doing so, be willing to, really take the time to nurture and grow that business. And I count myself very lucky and very blessed in that I've been able to do it 5 times. So glad to talk more about that, Manuel, if that's something of interest, or anybody else, if that's something of interest in what you'd like to do. What I can assure you is the cybersecurity industry in terms of private equity, venture capital, seed money growth, the opportunities are massive right now. And they have been, I shouldn't even say right now, they have been for 30 years. So.
A great question. We did have a question in the chat box, which was in reference to the initial start of classes. So your classes will they typically open 3 to 4 days in advance. They open at midnight, right? So the system is set. They open at midnight. So August 23rd, they're going to open. And what happens during that time, you're not going to get it. You don't typically get a notification unless the professor sends an announcement or something of that nature. Sometimes they have them preset. Sometimes they send them the day of. You get your announcement. And then as soon as the class is open, you can go in and you can explore. You can play around with things, right? And you want to spend that time getting acquainted with it. Now, normally there's like a discussion board post that's due each week. And typically classes have where you respond to a couple students. Each program's a little bit different. So I'm generalizing here, but then, your assignments are due on particular days. And I think Dr. Liu probably can provide a little bit more insight to just a basic week structure. If you could add something to that, Dr. Liu.
Yeah, the basic week structure is you have you have a reading list and also have a video watching list. And your first posting to the discussion board is due on Wednesday. And your reply on your classmates posting is due on Friday. Your assignment, it could be video assignment, collaboration assignment, or writing assignment, is due on Sunday night. That is the basic structure that all the core and the CPS classes follow.
Thank you. Okay, other questions? I know it's dinner time, so maybe everyone's starting to smell that delicious food that's going, you know. So, but if you have questions, if you don't have questions right now, you can always email us too, right? And the advisors can always relay questions as well. Okay, there was I had a chat too about lectures. So the courses are asynchronous, right? So you don't log in at a particular time. You have assignments that are due on due dates. And then you will have, each professor has their own style, right? So some professors may record a lecture for you to watch. Sometimes professors, even with asynchronous courses, they will offer optional meetings, right, for students, things of that nature. That's how it goes. So it's different from the discussion board is what mimics your on-ground experience, right? Like your classroom. That's the discussion board is designed to mimic that. So there's not the traditional lectures like you typically see in other courses.
You don't go to class at a specific time, but all the core and the CPS instructor has been instructed, and also they will be hosting a synchronous, a virtual office hour. So you get to talk to the instructor at a particular time. And if those time doesn't work for you, and if you need to talk to the instructor, just reach out to the instructor.
Another good point is even though you don't have a time that you're in class, budget that time within your week. So no, you may not need to go to class on Wednesday from 5 to 6:30, but that hour and a half can be put, later in Wednesday or earlier in Wednesday. You need to make sure that you're budgeting your time well, even though you don't have a dedicated course, you do or should have time dedicated in your week for your homework and your reading and learning.
Okay. Yeah, there was a second part that was added. Oh, Amanda has a question. Yes, Amanda. Thank you for raising your hand. I love these little emojis.
I didn't know how else to do it without interrupting anyone. What I understand is the core program is new to Boise State this semester. That means all of these students are also new to the core program, but are the instructors also new to the core program?
Amanda, yes, most of them, all of them are cybersecurity professional. Some of them are newer than others. Some of the CPS classes, we have been offering them since August of 2020 semester. So they've been offering it about 2-3 times. Okay, so the
okay.
So the framework that we're using is not completely new in a way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the framework is not new, so we are using proven framework that we have been deploying towards the CPS classes like CPS 301, 401, 402, 403, and 412. Mm-hmm. All those have been offered once or 2 times. And then Sage just posted all the bio for all the instructor. The classes are pre-developed, so the instructor are not doing anything on the fly. All the classes has been pre-developed and loaded up on Canvas learning management system, which you will have access to. So all the class content has been pre-designed and will be up there on Canvas.
So it's okay to provide the proper feedback on the Bronco evals. My last semester, some of my instructors required that we answer the Bronco evals. And so I'm just making sure it's appropriate to do those.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. By the way, I read every single one of those, okay?
I'll be nice.
Yeah, no, I have to is because as we're designing new program, like any new program, you need to take into students' feedback, and if there is something that is lacking in some instructor need to be paying attention to, we do tell the instructor to pay attention to certain thing. And because I have the big picture view, so in certain thing that we need to worry about it, certain thing we there's probably our control, but we will do the best we can, and we will do the best for you all, for the student.
Thank you.
Yeah, Amanda, those surveys are important, right? That's your opportunity as a student to let Sinming and Ed and everyone else know how much you're enjoying the program, or if there's something that, we need to kind of address, that's that opportunity, right? And so those are what the surveys are for. And it's always great when we have students like yourself who do those, right? Don't ever feel like you need to answer it one way or the other, right? It's your true feelings about how the course is going, because there's something that needs to be improved. Sinming wants to know that, right? I mean, he's focused on that, and they're focused on delivering a really quality education and program for you.
And then, in fact, we have because this is a 7-week, all the 7-week classes. In week 3, right, we do a mid-course survey too, and by you giving feedback, and at the end of week 3 or during week 3, the instructor can make adjustment for the rest of the 4 weeks too. So we don't have to wait until the semester is finished, and we can make some adjustment on real time.
Oh, very nice.
Yep. Any other question?
What about like, I don't tutoring or advising? Is that just strictly going to the professor and asking the professor for help?
Advising in terms of your classes schedule, advising, and you will still continue to work with Roger, and then I think this Karina will come on board to help too. But in the rest of it, and it related to classes, you will be reaching out to your instructor, and for any question, just make sure you reach out to Michelle and I, and we'll see what we can do. Okay, you have the rest of us here to help you out in any way we can. Emmanuel, I know we have talked to, and we have talked at, wait, did we meet when I was in Twin Falls, and then we have a couple of calls since then? So.
Yeah.
Okay, so again, the classes, the cybersecurity professional development, if there is any things that you find is confusing, making sure you email or post it on the discussion board and start a question to the instructor, and making sure you let the instructor know. And then so he will help clarify it and making sure that we are going down the right path for you. Remember, it is all about the content for you to be successful.
And then I would just jump in really quick and just add that as these internships I mentioned before come available, we'll be posting those through the different Facebook and LinkedIn sites. So you have those and can apply. Those are open and available. And you do not, on some of these, actually on the Cyberdome platform I mentioned before, you do not need to be in Boise on campus. You can be remote and coming into that particular platform. And our Boise State other ranges that we mentioned, those are available to people irrespective of where you're located. We have those are open and available to core students irrespective of where you're located. Question, Manuel?
Is there a time estimated on when those will be available?
So those internships are looking to be available sometime in the probably late September, early October timeframe. And we're in the process right now of getting the actual platform built. And then once it's built, we'll be taking student interns through training. And again, these are paid internships. And we'll be taking people through training. And but the simulation ranges are actually would be made available much sooner. Those are not paid. Those are just there for you to be able to build skills and competency on the various tool sets we talked about before. So as soon as those come available, they'll be we'll put those through and out into the LinkedIn and Facebook groups.
And Victor, you said in the
Thank
chat,
you.
can we get a copy of the PowerPoints? We will be sending a copy of this presentation out to everybody. And then it'll also include the links as well that I put in the chat. So you should be getting that within the next few days. Any last questions before we let everybody go eat their delicious dinner? As Roger said, I'm kind of jealous. What do you have, Roger?
Salad. I'm on a diet.
Ah.
So mine's not delicious.
That's so disappointing.
Oh, come on. Salad.
But I will add too, just really quick, like you have students that are in this program have worked at a lot of different schools on a lot of different programs. And I will say that the staff and faculty on this program, bar none, are just so receptive to student feedback, right? They want to make sure that you have a great student experience and that you have everything you need. But above that, they also want to provide the best quality program that they can. And so this really is an exceptional program. Even it just started, but it is shaping up to be a really strong program. And I think all of you are going to have a really wonderful time here, not just with Boise, but within the program itself. So just wanted to say that. And thank you all for joining us. If you do have questions later on, you can email them to us, and we'll make sure they get to route it to the appropriate place. Okay. Victor asked for a copy of the PowerPoint. Yeah, we can. Sage will share out does the PowerPoint go out or just the video?
Yep, so it is the recording of the session as well as the links that we put in the chat. So we will send that out in the next couple of days. We want to make sure that the transcript is correct, and then we will send that out shortly.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Have a
It
good
was so
evening,
good
everybody.
It was so good to see all of you. Have a good day, and we look forward to having you on Monday.
Bye, everybody. See you
Take
later.
care.
If anybody's missing the
Thank
book
you.
list, just shoot me an email. Okay. See you later. Let me try to end this recording. Bear with me here. Transcript done and recording. How do we stop this? There we go.